So you're getting lots of add to carts, but you're not getting any sales. This is a common complaint that Etsy sellers have, especially because Etsy pretty much puts it right on the listing that you're getting lots of add to carts. So how do we close those people? How do we move them from adding to cart to actually handing us money? That's what we're going to talk about. Hi, my name is Jared Robinson. I'm the host of Grow My Etsy Shop podcast, and we are going to fix your add to cart to sale ratio. Now, to give you just the quick rundown, people do shop like this, right? They use the cart as a save option. So they'll see something, oh my gosh, I love this. They'll add to cart because they're not sold yet. They want to keep shopping. They're not ready to buy. There's all sorts of reasons that we can't control. So let's just focus in on the ideas we can control. The reason someone doesn't buy your product is they aren't 100% sold yet. So when there's, even if it's 99.9, there's still this reserve that someone has for them to click buy now, type in their PayPal, their credit card, and make that purchase. They need to be sold. So it's your job to sell them. And so when we just present our products and we're just like, hey, here's my product, want to buy it? We're not doing all we can to sell. And that is what can lead to these add to carts without getting the sales to follow. So here are 3 things that you can do that can help close that add to cart to sales transaction. Number 1, you need to not just show your product in your listing pictures. So many of us get tempted with the idea of, here's my product, here's my pictures, here's what it is. But what's actually happening with the buyer is that they're trying to make an educated purchase. They're trying to logically and emotionally be fed that they are making the right choice. So if there's a buyer objection in their mind, if they're worried about something and you don't answer that question, they need to leave to go do research or go think or go wonder or go ask someone or just take time before they make that purchase, which can lead to that add to cart and then being abandoned once in cart. So here's a great example of how you can do this. This was someone I worked with within my coaching program. One of the biggest questions that she got was, how heavy are the earrings? Well, look how we solved this problem. Do you see this? This is her demonstrating that the earrings aren't actually that heavy, that they are lightweight and easy to put on. This was a question that she didn't know people would have until they started asking her. And once they started asking her, she said, hey, I need to put a solution to this problem. And she placed it right within her listing picture. Now, as buyers go through this, they're going to see this, they're going to feel a sense of peace, they're going to feel like you understand them, and they're not going to be as tempted to go search for other products because other products aren't answering that question like you are. So here's another great example. If I was to search for a nose ring on Etsy, there are lots of options that I can choose from. So some of the questions that I may have as I'm looking for a nose ring is just not only what size do I want, but what size would look best on me. So if we just present a nose ring on a nose, we're asking the user, though that's a great picture and I totally think you should have it in your listing photos, it doesn't necessarily solve the question of which size is going to look best on me. So when we do the research for our people, so here's a great example of that. You'll see in this listing picture that they've done the research. They've shown you which one is or what each one looks like. You're able to see it and understand it. This one's thick, this one's thin, this one's thinner. But I would add one more detail to this picture. This is what I would do. Yep, I would put a most popular section. Here's why. When you have a most popular, what it does is it takes away from the limited amount of choices that they have, unlimited amount of choices that they have. They look at those nose rings and they see so many different options. And now what happened is they came to your listing and you left them with a little bit more questions than what they came with. Because now they see all the options, they appreciate the research, but they need that budge. Think of it about like when someone goes to a fitting room and they try on clothes. They come out and they show their friends, or they take pictures, or they FaceTime and they say, how does this look? The reason they're doing that is they're trying to receive validation for what they're already thinking. So if you can provide them that validation by saying, hey, these are our most popular sizes, you're helping them push them towards making buying decisions, which then if they were to go to another listing and it doesn't show all the options or the research that was taking place and it doesn't tell them the most popular, you're then making them have to make the decision, and only those that truly know what they want are going to feel comfortable buying. but those who are in the research mode are going to abandon cart. So do it for them. Close the gap. Now this transitions perfectly into point number 2, which is that you're probably asking too many questions. Just as we learned in point 1, if we aren't answering their questions, they're confused and they end up just adding to cart and then feeling like they need to do more research. Well, now what if we provide too many options? What if we're actually the problem by making them have to jump through so many hoops before they can make the buying decision? So a good example of this is if we just search plant shirts on Etsy, you're going to see lots of different options that's there. Now you may be thinking, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to offer the whole freaking rainbow for these guys. So when they come to my listing, they can choose between purple and pink and orange and green and violet and indigo, the whole thing. Now what you're actually doing when you do this is that you're making them make a decision that isn't necessary. There's going to be popular sellers. And in fact, if you just look on the front page of Etsy again of plant shirts, you're going to see Etsy's giving you the answers. Scroll through that really quick. Do you notice the color schemes that are taking place here? Grays, blacks, kind of this pinkish coral color. These are the colors that are doing well. So these are the colors that you're going to want to offer in a listing. Now keep in mind, if we can eliminate the amount of choices that a user needs to make, that means we need to answer less questions before they feel ready to buy. And if we can get those people to buy instead of just add to cart, then we actually increase the conversion rate of that listing and get more authority to that listing. So though it may be tempting to put as much options and variety to our listings as possible, sometimes, in fact most times, it can cost you. So here's my overall advice. Figure out what's selling and offer what's selling. And then if you want to experiment with something new, great, throw it on there, but always present to your customers what's the most popular option so that if they're neutral, well, I don't know if I want gray or black. Well, the gray is the most popular. Great, I'll go gray. That's a great way to get someone to just solve that question and move into the checkout process. So this last tip comes from some of the psychology of buying, is that touch points are really important. So if someone's doing a lot of shopping and researching and they're clicking on different stuff and reading different listings and trying to see which one's going to ship faster or whatever it may be, one of the things that you can do to help increase that conversion rate or close the cart that they currently have is by offering multiple touch points. Meaning they click on your stuff, they read your stuff, they add it to cart, and then they go somewhere else and they start to look, they go back to search and they start to look through some more stuff. They click on that listing, they click on this listing, and then they see your listing again. Now that's a powerful time to come back. Now the question is, how do we get seen again? This is where some of my advice from other videos that you can see. In fact, I'll put one here that you can really learn how to use ads to your advantage. But when you add a little bit of ad spend to your best sellers, you're presenting multiple touch points that as they're doing their research, you have a higher chance of showing up again and again and again and again. And when a buyer is hot like that, we want to have those touch points, because if they go visit this listing, this listing, this listing, and then you show up again, okay, they're starting to get this authority that you are present in here, that you're a good option for them. Keep in mind, this is how algorithms work. The more we see something, the more we deem it as true. And so by you showing up more in their feed, the more they're leaning towards, okay, Etsy's promoting this to me. This is probably one of the better options that I could have. These 3 points you can do today. These are all things that you can go in and make tweaks. I would recommend that you start with some of your best sellers or the ones that you see a lot of people have added to cart, and just make these changes to what you're doing. You're getting traffic, you're getting clicks, you're getting people to add to cart. They're just not going all the way. So let's answer some of those questions for them. Let's simplify our checkout and let's increase the touch points that we have. And most likely, you're going to see a higher conversion rate coming from that listing because of these steps. If you like learning this type of way, I try to let a YouTube out about once a month, but I have a podcast I do once a week. You can check it out. It's called Grow My Etsy Shop. It's right on podcast, Spotify, Apple. People seem to really like it. I enjoy making it, and I prefer to do my content over there. So if you are a big fan of this channel or like what you're seeing, just go jump over there. There's tons of free stuff for you, and you can learn how to grow your Etsy shop. Okay, until the next time, guys. See ya.